Dr. Albrecht Classen is a renowned scholar of medieval history. We're always so delighted to have him back on our program, one of the real bright lights. I've been doing media for over, 55 years, and this guy is right up there as one of the brightest people I've ever interviewed, and I'm glad I get a chance to interview him. We try to get him on every month, every 6 weeks if he's in town. Dr. Albrecht Classen is a University of Arizona distinguished professor of German studies, publishing more than 100 scholarly books and hundreds of articles. I think his book reviews are up to close to 3,000 now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Along with 10 volumes of poetry. He's doing it's haiku, right? Haiku poetry.
Also,
you do that on your Facebook page, which is fun. There's usually a photograph and then haiku. Let's see, 4 volumes of essays. He's got textbooks, including a handbook of medieval study. He's won many honors, including the Grand Knight Commander of the Most Noble Order of the Three Lions, and he is wearing the medal because I always talk about it, and I'd like to see it in person, so he's got it around his neck. It's in recognition of outstanding services to German studies. I really like the way the Three Lions are like. It's just very very. That was bestowed upon you in 2017 or
That's
something?
right, yes.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
That. Good memory there, huh? Dr. Classen is editor-in-chief of the international online journal titled Humanities. His recent books, these are just a couple: Wisdom from the Middle Ages, that's one; The Secret in Medieval Literature, Alternative Worlds in the Middle Ages. Another one, Humanities in the 21st Century, The Meaning and Relevance of Medieval and Modern Literature. And here's the big one, and actually, when this announcement was made in the fall of 2022, he was here on the show. So the Fulbright scholarship announcement was like fresh. It was like 24 hours from when you were with us. And then you took off to Cairo, Egypt as a Fulbright scholar. So, I mean, on and on it goes. I don't know when this man ever sleeps. I mean, he's either on an airplane. He got back from Munich on Sunday, and then, I guess, do you sleep on airplanes? Or you do.
Yeah.
So you're not working and writing and stuff. But anyway, it's great to have you back with us. Thank you so much.
Bill, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I'm always very happy. You do such a great service for the community.
Thank you.
And to have me here on the show is really a great honor. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And before the last visit, it's been a couple of months, and it's been a really couple of hard months for me. And we talked a little bit about misfortune and the horrible time I was having and Anne was having. They're doing her 10 weeks of trying to survive with that very rare cancer. But I want to talk a little bit about medieval literature. And you call this an archive of human experience. You say the Middle Ages is a depository of human knowledge, wisdom, happiness, and suffering. Let's start with the suffering part, because that would resonate with me as I try to find a little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness in every day. And it's not that easy, I'm telling you, but go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, because we all go through this, whether it's love or death or God, the quest for identity, quest for God. We always struggle. We as people always, throughout ages and in all cultures, we all struggle for the same.
This is nothing new.
No. But, the best way, I think, to come to terms with all those aspects, let's say even love or happiness, is to look at the way how people in the past reflected upon it. It's not necessarily the same, it's different, and yet there is enough parallels that allow us to understand much better and to see it through a mirror. looking into a mirror, reading, let's say, medieval texts, for example, or could be Baroque texts, could be texts from the 18th century, it doesn't quite matter, can be antiquity, it's all fine, but the literary text is kind of distancing from yourself, from your own emotions, and suddenly you see the general perspective. We all have to die. We all have to, and actually the best thing I think about medieval literature is they had the idea of a good death.
Tell me about a good death.
A good death meant that you prepared yourself for death, that you could say goodbye to loved ones, that you confessed all of your sins. You got, of course, the priest's blessing and the last rites. But at least you had a hope and you had a perspective.
You just checked off my wife's good death.
That's exactly.
You just checked off the boxes.
That's right, exactly. So that, because we all will die. But you know what? I don't think it is good just to postpone the thinking about death, because we all will die. So it's better, and I always tell my students, when is the best time to think about death? Now. Yes. Now, when you're young.
Don't kick the can down the road.
But in essence, when you understand that we are mortal, that we are transient, that we are evanescent, that we are not here forever, means we have to look for the spirit, for the meaning behind our lives. And I think when you can look back at the moment of your death and you know that you made somebody smile, that you made somebody feel happy or thankful for what you have done, I think that's a good death.
Yeah, that's so important for me to hear, and I think for our listeners to hear. And as you know, I've been very transparent about this since Anne's diagnosis. I've been very transparent on Facebook.
Yep.
And the reason I have done that, I want people to think about this subject of our mortality. I want people to hug the one they're with. I want people to get your affairs in order. Don't say, well, we'll worry about it at some other point.
No.
Something can happen.
Absolutely. Actually,
something can happen at any time.
So yesterday morning, for example, at breakfast, I suddenly realized once again what a kind person my wife is. So really nice and helpful, communicative, cooperative with me. And so in the morning, I thought, I have just to tell her that. So I normally wouldn't do it, but that's exactly what you need to do. So
thank you for doing that.
Just a little email and had to say, my gosh, you're such a good wife.
Thank you.
So I think now, just theoretically, but now I could die because I've said thank you.
Yes.
If you forget to say thank you, then you are, of course, not approaching death in a good way.
Yeah, and I want to say something about gratitude.
Yeah.
I said here a few minutes ago, it's very hard for me right now to find much joy in my day-to-day living. Now, on the other hand, Dr. Classen, I can find gratitude, and I'm the gratitude from the people who have been so supportive. And some people say, well, Bill, is there any silver lining to misfortune? There is. And you know what it is? It's gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
The gratitude, the people who have come forward, the new friends I have made, this may sound weird, but the wonderful appreciation I have had of the 51 years of joy.
Yes.
Of joy with Anne.
Yeah. So gratitude, however, to whom or to what? That's your decision. God or spirits or whatever. But I think love is sort of the bond, the glue that holds us all together. And I think we need to be extremely grateful if we ever have a chance to find this in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Many people don't.
No.
There are lots of single people,
yes,
and they face an old age alone, which is very, very hard. So we just need to be thankful for what we are given. Just
all
simply.
Right. We're going to take a break right here. More with Dr. Albrecht Classen. We'll be talking about a very interesting talk that he's going to be giving about globalism in the pre-modern age. This is a group from the Fulbright Association. We'll tell you about that and more with Fulbright Scholar as of 2022, University of Arizona Distinguished Professor of German Studies, and he's wearing, because I'm so curious about his medal, the Grand Knight Commander of the Most Noble Order of the Three Lions, and he's brought that and wearing it kind of in my honor, and I appreciate you doing that so I could take a up close and personal look at it. We were speaking in the first segment about medieval literature, really a depository of human knowledge, wisdom, happiness, and suffering. We were talking a little bit about misfortune. It doesn't have to be a big misfortune for us to maybe think, maybe there's some silver lining. I mean, the car can break down, little things. I'd call that misfortune. Actually, your car broke down, as I recall, the last time you were to be on the show, and we had to do it on our live line. So what happens when the little misfortunes happen to us?
You just handle them. I mean, this is sort of a childlike attitude. If you don't scream and you think the sky is falling. No, these are the little things we as adults have to take care of. I mean, I hate them. Don't get me wrong. We all hate these things.
Lose a filling, or
gosh.
We all know what the little misfortunes are. Yeah.
But that's life.
But you say...
It is just part of all of human existence. And what is much more important, these are not the material things, but the spiritual things. So I'm thinking of a poem by a Baroque poet, Gropius, who laments the horrible devastation of the 30 Years' War, and people have been killed and women have been raped. But then he says the worst is not even the destruction, but that people have lost their spirituality. So, you can face all kinds of traumatic issues, but you need to remember that we are spiritual beings, and your wife would want you to keep going and to observe and aspire for that spirit, because that's what she had, and she has now shared that with you. Now you have two spirits in a way. So.
Thank you for that. I do want to talk a little bit about globalism in pre-modern age. That will be your topic on October 24th. For folks who have heard you here on the radio and they'd like to meet you in person and spend, I think, about an hour with you, right, at 4 o'clock on October 24th. This is fun. It's going to be a talk that is free. It's open to everyone. It's being staged by the Arizona chapter of the Fulbright Association. Now, you being a Fulbright scholar, you're part of the portfolio.
Yep.
You're right in there. It's at the Life Sciences South building. It's over on Fort Lowell. 1007 East Fort Lowell. So it's not on campus.
No, that's a mistake.
It is a mistake.
It is, It is on corner Park and 6th Street.
Park and 6th. Okay.
It is just across from the dorms.
Okay, but there's some parking over there that shouldn't be.
Yeah, there should be some. It's not easy. Parking, is always difficult.
A problem. But people would like to come out. They hear you here on the radio. They'd like to meet you. In a nutshell, what will the topic be? I know I said it's globalism in the pre-modern age, but what's that entailing?
We all know that we live in an age of globalism, and the common assumption is that globalism started maybe about 1800 with imperialism, colonialism, and stuff like that. I did a major book that appeared in June of this year, in which a whole group of scholars and myself address that this kind of globalism already existed. If you think about Icelandic falcons imported to Egypt, Chinese products imported to Madagascar, Ceylonese food or gems or perfumes imported or exported to Europe.
You're talking about globalism in the medieval ages?
That's exactly
right. But people don't think that happened.
Exactly, and that is the essential point. We are breaking open this paradigm that in the earlier times people were so myopic and so parochial that they didn't understand. No. It's just the opposite.
People thought that they just lived in these villages and they never left their village.
So I have a nice little anecdote. In the year 806, the Baghdad Babylonian ruler Harun al-Rashid wanted to make contacts with the Carolingian emperor Charlemagne. So he sent him as a gift, Baghdad, please. Baghdad is in Iraq today. He sent him an elephant.
What?
The elephant had to walk all the way from Baghdad to Tunisia by ship across the Mediterranean, then all the way to northern Germany.
And the elephant was delivered to northern Germany?
Alive, yes.
Alive,
and still lived for 6 more years. So whatever that might have entailed, we have such misconceptions. Think about the Icelanders. They traveled and settled in America already in the year 1000. Think about all the Arab travelers. Marco Polo is a market name, of course. Mm-hmm. So I will simply shed more light and break open that paradigm and sort of indicate how history can become much more interesting if we have open eyes and listen to different voices.
Columbus did not discover the Americas. No. The Vikings did.
Much earlier.
Earlier.
And he always thought that he arrived somewhere, but not. No. He didn't know anything about America.
How about, let's quickly mention there's still a few spaces open for this. Is a 5-week seminar?
6 weeks, yeah.
6 weeks. Could you tell our listeners about it?
Yes, the Humanities Seminars organized by the College of Humanities. And it's these are seminars for the public, small fee, depending on whether you take a 6-week course or 3-week course or a 10-week course. My course will be 6 weeks and covering the history of medieval masterpieces. So we will look not at the very famous ones, we will look at smaller ones, easy to read and yet ready for big discoveries.
No, so different, talking about literature or the arts?
Literary text.
Painting?
Literary texts.
The visual arts?
No, I will include some as background. We'll have some music as well as background, but we'll read shorter literary texts that address issues such as honor, love, gender issues, equality, racism. Sounds all very modern, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like, as they say, torn from the headlines of today.
Exactly. But the modern headlines alert us to the fact that similar problems already existed in the past. And when we teach these things, then suddenly the young generation will realize how much the medieval past really matters for us today.
So where could we find out more information about if we'd like to take part in the course?
Yeah, easy. You go to either Facebook or you go to College of Humanities or search simply College of Humanities Humanities Seminar. Humanities Seminars. They're sending out lots and lots of flyers and you just give them a call and you can sign up.
I wanted to do one of your haikus. And I was looking at this one for, I think this was posted for yesterday. Genesis and growth, life is irrepressible. Let's share the secrets.
There we go.
There you go.
So I was in Hamburg in a beautiful botanical garden.
Yeah, there's a beautiful flower here posted on Facebook with your haiku.
That's right.
And to be a haiku, it has to be what? Real quickly.
575.
575
syllables.
Wow. All right. You post pretty much one every day on Facebook. Always a pleasure, Dr. Classen. We love having you on the show, and we'll have you again in about a month in November.
Thank you very much.
All right, that'll do it. On behalf of Dr. Classen, John, who does a great job engineering and producing on the other side of the glass, Bill Buckmaster saying, I hope everybody has a great afternoon.